welcome back to the dinner table. I am your host, Nick, joined by my father, Mike.
Hello, everyone.
We are here today to discuss things, as we do from time to time, with lists. We like lists. I do anyways.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of a weird, fun exercise. But today it is things we liked as a kid. Not really sure why now as adults. Kind of see it now as an adult. Like, what were we thinking?
Or maybe things that didn't age very well.
Yeah.
Or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah. I kind of look at it. I think it's kind of the combo
Yeah, a little
of
bit of both.
everything, you know.
We changed and
It didn't.
it didn't.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But, so to kick it off, actually, I thought about calling the list, what was it? WTF were we thinking?
Yeah.
So, without further ado, you want to kick it off and see what you
I
got?
can kick it off. Sure.
All right.
I remember when I was a little kid, you have to be of a certain age to remember this one. But there was a cartoon called Mighty Mouse.
Oh, here I am to save the day.
Here I come to save the day.
Or, that's it.
Yeah. And I loved it. I absolutely love that cartoon. Never missed an episode. So when the internet came around and all that stuff, especially YouTube, you can find all that stuff on YouTube. I thought, I'm going to check out Mighty Mouse. So I clicked on an episode of Mighty Mouse and thought, oh my God, I used to watch this crap. I mean, it is awful. It is just awful.
That's funny.
Bad music, everything about it was not good. I mean, even the stories some of them were kind of racist,
Were they really?
Native Americans and things like that. And I watched an episode yesterday or day before yesterday just to refresh my memory. And Mighty Mouse had to save some sheep from wolves, and it was just weird. I don't know. I don't understand it, but I can remember as a little kid watching that show and just loving it, though. So I don't know. I mean, it's weird. I don't know if I outgrew it or it was never any good in the first place, and that's all that was on TV, which may have been the case. But I don't know. So Mighty Mouse, I wouldn't recommend that to anybody.
My first one is the movie adaptation of Masters of the Universe.
Oh yeah, boy. Yeah.
As a kid, I was like, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen. It's real life He-Man.
Yeah.
I watched it 2 years ago. I thought, I'll just watch it. I think it was on one of those things for free or one of the streaming
Yeah, you can
platforms.
find it on most streaming. Yeah.
Loaded it up. Got about halfway through that. I'm surprised I made it that far. I think it was just one of those, this is nostalgia, and I will be nostalgic. I will force nostalgia upon myself. And it is horrendous. I don't know if the writers of this movie ever saw an episode of He-Man, because I don't know what the hell that had to do with the He-Man cartoon.
Yeah, I'm not sure what they were trying to do.
I don't either.
Yeah.
They were in the real world at one point. I think Tila was in it, but I couldn't
She was.
vaguely remember her there. It was just not good. It just don't
I
work
know
out.
you loved He-Man, and when the movie came out, we went to go see it at the theater.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
and we kind of walked out. I walked out of there going, I'm not too sure about that. I mean, I didn't think at the time, I didn't think it was horrible,
No.
but it was horrible.
It was horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, as a kid, you want to refuse that the thing you liked was bad. Like the He-Man. I loved He-Man, and to admit that was a bad movie was just impossible. And that was a bad movie. Yeah, it was so bad. It was. I don't recommend that to anybody. If you're gonna watch Masters of the Universe, you can watch the Netflix one that Kevin Smith has done, which is actually pretty good. Or you can just go find the original.
Go find the
somewhere.
original 30-minute commercials.
Yeah, 30-minute toy commercials.
Toy
'cause
commercials.
that's really what all 80s cartoons were. But some of them were done well. In all honesty, that show's not that bad. The original show it's stupid, goofy, and whatever. But it's an 80s cartoon. It's
was
not
okay.
that bad. It's
Right.
fine. Do I watch as an adult? No, not really. But it was fine.
Yeah.
But I don't recommend it.
Yeah, no, don't go to that one.
No.
Well, the next one on my list is the Jetsons.
Oh yeah, that's not very good.
It was a great cartoon, I thought, and a little older when that came around. You know, about the same time as the Flintstones. And I would still watch the Flintstones. That's okay. The Flintstones really is just the honeymooners.
Yeah, yeah.
Set in prehistoric times, I guess.
Essentially.
But the Jetsons, man, again, YouTube comes around or Cartoon Network or one of those things came around. I thought, oh, wow, they got the Jetsons on here. Let me check it out. I used to love that. I got through like an episode and a half and it's like, this is not good. It's just, I don't know. Every episode was the same.
Yeah.
And, you know, George getting in some stupid trouble. And, you know, the whole thing was just, I don't know.
And Space League being pissed off at him.
Yeah, Space League, Sprocket and Cogs and the whole.
Yeah.
Then Judy, the daughter.
Yeah.
With all her teenage, kind of 50s teenage, maybe stupid stuff, you know,
Yeah.
bad music on there. That has just terrible music. And
Yeah.
the whole thing was
It's not very good.
not very
No.
good. I don't know what the appeal of it was.
It's a cartoon.
Yeah, you know, but yeah, I wouldn't recommend that. I mean, there's a lot of people still talk about the Judges, like every time you turn your microwave on or whatever, and, you know, but
Yeah, I called my Robovac Rosie for
yeah,
a long
Rosie.
time. Yeah, it was Rosie
Yeah.
Mark 1 and Rosie Mark 2. She was
Yeah.
my Robovac.
Yeah, but
She ran over dog poop. It was horrible.
I think we all sat here one night with Matthew, all four of us, to watch. Let's watch the Jetsons.
Yeah, it was on HBO.
And
HBO
we
Max.
all quickly turned it off.
Yeah, it
because,
wasn't good. No,
We didn't enjoy it anymore.
aged quite poorly, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, next one is another movie. Not all these are movies. Some of them are shows, but this one is Willow.
I don't know anything about
loved Willow as a kid. Oh man, that was one of my favorite movies. Mad Mardigan and all that goofiness and stupidity. And when Disney was like, "Well, we're going to make a show about Willow," I thought, "Oh, okay, I'll check that out." And we watched the movie. I'm like, "Oh, why are they making a show of this crap?" You know, and it was just pure nostalgia for the sake of it. It bombed, which I knew. I mean, as soon as I saw the movie again, I was like, "The show's going to bomb, and Disney's going to erase it from existence," which they did. They completely erased it from existence, and it's just not that good. It's one of those like '80s fantasy kind of things where you watch it like, oh wow, this is interesting as a kid, and then you grow up like, oh no, that was crap. It's just bad. I don't know what they were trying to capture. I don't know. The acting was terrible. I mean, Val Kilmer's in it. It's one of his earliest roles, and I mean, he wasn't bad in it. I don't think it's his fault. It's just not a good movie. I think it was a LucasArts movie, if I remember correctly. That's why Disney owns it now. So it was in that. I think it was like Lucas trying to recapture Star Wars, but in a fantasy setting, and failed horrifically. And that's why he said, "I'm never making another one of these again." Until Disney came around and said, "We're gonna make another one," and it completely just fell apart. It was terrible. It's terrible movie. I only own it. The funny thing is because it's hard to find, because Disney has wiped it clean from the face of this earth. I found the movie on Amazon. It's a South Korean version.
Oh, really?
So the movie's English, right? And it's region free, so I can watch it on anything because my PlayStation will play anything. But the cover and everything is in Korean.
Oh, really?
It's quite funny looking. I kept it for just because it just made me laugh. So that's really funny to see that. But yeah, I understand people are nostalgic about it, but remove the rose tinted glasses and watch it. It's not very good. It's just not. It's not even really entertainingly good. It's just not good. Very bad movie. Don't recommend it anymore. Make it go away. I'm glad. And there's a part of me that's like, Disney, you might have done the right thing there. I'm actually telling you did a good thing.
All right. Well, my next one is when I was a kid, I was an Elvis Presley fan. Yeah, I know. Because I liked Elvis. You know, I still like some of those early songs that he did, you know, and everything. He's a good singer. But he made movies. And those Elvis movies, I would go see them. I remember I made a list here of my favorite ones. Was it Roustabout, Viva Las Vegas, Blue Hawaii.
Viva Las Vegas.
There you go.
Yeah.
And Fun at Acapulco. And there was others. I would go see those things for, hey, new Elvis movies out. Yay, let's go. And I kind of enjoyed them. But put one on now. I think your mom and I can't remember what movie we were watching. One Friday night, this Elvis thing popped up, on what to watch next for some reason. Probably because we watched that Elvis documentary.
Oh, yeah.
And I think it might have been Viva Las Vegas, but I don't remember for sure. And we started watching that, and I couldn't get through it. I'm like,
It's like torture.
Freaking awful. The man couldn't act.
No.
And he was a good singer, no doubt. But those movie soundtrack songs, they all had to play to the movie, and it's just, God, they were awful.
That's pretty bad.
That Colonel Parker guy just ruined Elvis.
He did.
He destroyed him. I mean, just destroyed him as a human being, and why he was making all those movies when he was such a good singer and such a dynamic act.
And
he could
never let him be what he could have been.
Exactly. Exactly. It was just, man, looking at those movies now, it's kind of sad.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah. It's a little sad. And boy, sit down and try to watch one of those. Now, I know there's people out there that are just monster Elvis fans. Mm-hmm. And they probably watch these things. I don't know. If you do, let me know. Why?
It's like me and Willow.
I mean, like I said, I was an Elvis fan, and I kind of have, soft spot in my heart for the guy, but I cannot stand any of those movies. None of them.
That's not surprising.
Even I saw a thing. It reminds me. I saw a thing pops up every now and then on the internet. Elvis movies ranked from best to worst. That would be hard to do. Because
the same movie.
They're all the same movie. How do you rank them? So I actually read one time, and it's like there was no praise for any of these. None of them were good.
No.
They
made a lot of money.
So Elvis movies from bad to worse, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe you could do that.
Yeah. That'd still be difficult because you got to pick one over the other. I guess I'd say Viva Las Vegas is his best because it's his most known.
It was one of the highest ranking ones, I think, in this particular little thing, which is one person's opinion, probably. But,
But they did that. Remember, they tried to do that with the Beatles with a movie, and that's not very good either.
Hard Day's Night?
Yeah.
That wasn't bad.
I watched it. Yeah. I kind of like, this is kind of stupid.
Yeah, I haven't watched it in years.
Yeah.
There was other ones too, Yellow Submarine.
Yeah.
There was another one, I think.
I don't think I've ever seen Yellow Submarine.
Yeah,
but
okay.
Well, my next one is I have fond memories of this one, and we'll get into it. It's American Gladiator. When I was a kid, be off school for summer. You'd be on cruise. Mom would be working. Just be me and Matthew, my little brother, kind of babysitting. And I'd be like, man, let's watch some American Gladiator. We would watch that shit until Mom came home. And I have all these fond memories. I was talking to Matt about it yesterday. He goes, I don't know if I remember that. I haven't even thought about it in probably 20 years. It's probably a good thing. And I was watching a documentary on the American Gladiators. See, I thought it was a little WWE. It's not. They actually really competed. These people got hurt. Mm-hmm. And they weren't getting paid for it. It's kind of a sad story. But excellent documentary on Netflix for it. Highly recommend it. I know, back to my documentaries. But it made me look them up on YouTube. Man, that shit was lame. Oh, my God. Their names. And it hit me, the joke that they were making in the movie Dodgeball. This is Blaze, Laser, Phaser, and Taser, and that's American Gladiator. This is Nitro and Blaze. And
I never watched it. I don't know. Anything.
You should, but you probably shouldn't. It's not good. But these guys were some roided out bodybuilders, just letting normal human beings run into them as hard as they can. These guys got hurt. They got beat up. One guy blew his knee out in the first episode, completely shredded his knee. He was done. His career was over. And he probably got paid like $50 to do the damn episode, And, you kind of feel bad for these guys in a way. But the ones who lasted like 3 seasons, Yeah, I know way too much about the show. It's kind of
Yeah,
scary. But oh man, I watched it. Like I said, I don't do it to yourself. Save the nostalgia. Don't ruin it by watching an
don't go back
episode.
and watch it.
Don't go back. Just save it in your
Yeah.
mind. But I loved it. And I said some of my fondest memories of summertime, Oak Harbor, Washington, during those rainy summers. Was watching American Gladiators with my little brother. My buddy Justin would come over and we'd watch Gladiators because, he was on the lifting weights. And we're like, this shit is awesome. It's really not.
Really not. You should get in touch with him and see what he thinks.
Yeah, he might be going, I haven't thought of that in like 20 years. But Matthew.
Okay, I'm
Yeah.
up. Here's a nostalgic show that my generation was really, and I guess my parents too, really fond of. Route 66.
Get your kicks on Route
Route
66.
66.
that's
Yeah,
all.
and it was the storyline was two young guys. I think they were in a Corvette, like a mid 60s, one of the early Corvettes, driving across country on Route 66, which went from Chicago to Los Angeles. And they got into all kinds of adventures, on Route 66. They'd help people and they'd get in trouble and get people out of trouble and all this stuff. And the whole Route 66 thing, for at least my generation, and I think my parents, was kind of almost a dream thing, to be able to go and travel that road, and an adventure. I mean, I'm from Caribou, Maine, for crying out loud. California to me was like another planet. I mean, really, I never thought I would ever
It's true.
go to California, but when I was driving when I joined the Navy, ended up going to school in Millington, Tennessee, which is near Memphis. And your mom and I got orders to Washington State. So your mom and I decided we're going to go across Interstate 40 and then up Interstate 5 because it was wintertime. We didn't want to get stuck in the mountain snows or whatever.
Mm.
And we wanted to go to Arizona to visit your Aunt Jean. So we were driving across Interstate 40, and in New Mexico, the interstate wasn't done yet. That's how long ago that was, right? And it would be 49 years ago this fall that we did this trip. Anyway, so we ended up driving on part of Route 66, which was like the coolest friggin' thing. I'm like, holy crap, I'm on Route 66. This is awesome. Check it out. We spent the night in Tucumcari, New Mexico on Route 66. And of course, Interstate 40 now is right next to it. It's the same.
It follows it.
It follows it, especially through New Mexico. But yeah, that was pretty awesome. So one of those nostalgic TV channels, like I can't remember the names of them.
Yeah, there's several of them.
There's several of them, but they had Route 66 on. So one Saturday afternoon, I'm going to watch some Route 66. I couldn't get through an episode of it. It was just terrible. I mean, the storyline was crap, and some of the acting wasn't that good either. Although the lead actor was Martin Milner, who was a pretty famous television actor.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
I think he passed away recently too.
yeah, not a few years ago, I think.
Yeah.
But it was bad. It was a bad show.
Bad. Yeah.
But for Route 66, I would love to go and drive the whole thing.
Yeah.
I really
Can
would.
you still drive the whole thing?
Most of it.
Most of it.
Yeah. Most of it.
Excuse me.
And you know what happened? The federal government stopped funding it because of the interstate highway system. But a lot of states figured out that there's a tourism thing here, I guess a nostalgia thing or whatever. And you could drive through most of it in Arizona.
Yeah.
And so Route 66, the TV show, I guess it was a hit, but I tried to watch it. And I remember watching bits and pieces of it when I was a kid, but I can't watch it now. It's bad.
Bad. Yeah. Well, my next one, Mom used to always give me the plushies when I was a kid. It was Care Bears.
Care Bears.
The Care Bears dare. Talk about some. I don't believe I watched that. Like
I
that
don't-
one,
I
I'm
don't
actually
either. Yeah.
offended by myself knowing that I watched that. Like that is a terrible show. And it's stupid. And I know Dave Chappelle does a great joke. My generation grew up with the Care Bear stare. They stared at you till you cared. It was terrible, terrible freaking show. The cartoon was off. The bears, I guess, are cute. Grumpy Bear, Sunshine Bear. It was kind of cute. But man, just because you made a toy doesn't mean you have to make a cartoon of it. I guess back then it did. But man, that was a terrible. I tried. What's funny is I barely remembered the show. I remember the bears. I had a Grumpy Bear, and I think I had something else. I don't remember. So I thought YouTube brought it up. Like, oh my god, I couldn't.
Oh no, it was bad.
Yeah,
that was one of those 30-minute commercial shows.
Oh,
just to sell the bears.
Just to sell the bears.
Yeah,
It was horrendous, terrible show. Don't watch it. Just let it go. Let the Care Bears go. Just let them fade off into our memories. Remember the toys? Toys are kind of cute.
Yeah, they worth anything?
I don't know. I don't even know if I still have them. I bet you I do up in the attic.
I wonder if they're worth anything.
Yeah, they might be. I'll have to look that up because
might be sitting on a gold mine.
I might be sitting on a gold mine. $20.
Yeah, worth at least $10.
$10. $10, everybody.
Yeah.
But no, don't. Just remember the toy. Let the cartoon go away.
Yeah,
just
there
let
you
it
go.
go.
Yeah.
Let it go.
Yeah. Well, my next one, there's a kind of a story behind it.
Okay.
And there was this organization put together by the Catholic Church.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be good.
Oh, yeah.
The title of this is something like South Park, or, they could do an episode on this. They probably have. But it's the National Legion of Decency. Honest to God.
Okay.
The National Legion of Decency. And they would review movies and then would put out lists of movies that Catholics should not see.
Oh.
Okay. So they would put these lists up in church, in the entrances to the church and the vestibule or whatever you call it, where you come to the church. So as a young boy, me and my buddies would go look at those lists and go see those movies.
Oh yeah,
what happens. Hey, this one's on in town. Let's go see it. So those are the movies we would target to go see, and most of them at this little period of time were biker movies, like Hell's Angels on Wheels, and there were several of them, and we liked those movies. I mean, they were cool. These bikers were cool, and they all this stuff and. Drinking beer and chasing women and of course the rape and all that other stuff. Yeah. It didn't really kind of went over our heads.
Just let that go.
Yeah, as youngsters, but and organized crime and all that. It was just the motorcycles and all that. But I was flipping through Netflix or something and I saw the Hell's Angels on Wheels or one of those movies. And I thought, oh, geez, I remember those when I was a kid. So I clicked that on. Woo, those were some bad movies. I mean, I don't know if they got the actual motorcycle clubs to act these things out or not, but they weren't Academy Award winning actors, I can tell you that. And they were bad. They were just bad movies. But this whole National Legion of Decency.
That is funny.
Yeah, I actually looked it up, and they went away in the 1980s.
Yeah.
So they disbanded the whole thing, but it was. But we used to go see. We'd go look at those lists and.
I could have fun with something like that. It'd be fun. Everything that's on that list, like I'm gonna go check that out.
Yeah, we need to go see this one. We need to go see this one.
Where'd you get this list from? The Catholics.
Yeah, exactly. And I had a list up of all the movies they banned, and some of them were really good movies. I mean, there was no reason to not go see them. Some were Academy Award winning movies.
The Godfather.
Yeah, no, The Godfather wasn't one of them, but there was movies along that.
Oh, no kidding.
Line, yeah. Oh. Yeah, it was. I don't know if I could find the list real quick. Yeah, I should have printed it. But,
yeah, that's pretty funny, actually.
Yeah, the National Legion of Decency. Now, and they also had a National Catholic Office of Motion Pictures.
Wow.
It kind of morphed into that, and then eventually it just went away.
Yeah, probably a good idea.
Which is a good idea, yeah. But anyway, I can look up a list of those. Okay. You can go ahead.
Well, my next one, I had one something for this one, but I thought, I'm going to go with one that we both know. And somehow, because we live in the South now, here in Florida, And somehow the show is still revered to rednecks everywhere. No offense to those who are not rednecks and like the show. Yeah, is the Dukes of Hazzard.
Oh,
I loved it when I
well,
was a little kid.
I
And then I
never
grew
really
up.
got into
I'm like, I don't
it.
get this. Now I watch it and I see they made a newer movie. They made a movie of it. Well, not newer. I mean, Jessica Simpson was in it. She was hot when she was about 20. So it's been about 20 years ago they made the movie of it.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
man, that's a terrible show. I mean, they wore pants so tight you could tell everything about that man. Like, I don't know how he got in those pants. I don't get it, but whatever. You saw things that you just didn't want to see. I guess because the adult in me now knows, like, God damn, that shit looks like it's uncomfortable, But
Yeah,
that
I
show is
don't know.
not good. The acting is not that good.
No,
It's just a bunch of dudes driving around in an old Dodge Charger,
Charger, I think.
Charger,
Yeah.
doing stupid stuff with a Confederate battle flag on the roof. And I mean, South, that's your show.
Yeah, I don't know.
Good luck. I don't think it
I
is.
don't think it is either.
I think it's just certain
Yeah.
circles it's extremely popular in. I'm like, oh, this is not a very good show, guys. But it's. I remembered. I liked it. I think it's because of all the jumping of the car and running
Yeah, I
into things.
don't know. I never really watched it. I didn't.
Yeah, it was one of those things. It was on during the summer when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I just. I looked it up when I think when they made the movie like years ago. They looked it up and it's like this is not good. Why are they redoing this? This is not exactly the show. But now for the movie, they didn't do the Confederate battle flag on the car. They took that off,
Oh,
which
did they?
pissed off a lot of people. Yeah, they're
Mm.
trying to erase our history. It's like no, it's probably not an appropriate thing to have. It's
Yeah, really.
on the car,
Yeah.
and we can get into that another day. But yeah, Dukes of Hazzard. I don't get it. I did as a kid. I thought it was fun. I think it was like I said, just the car chase thing and the jumping of the car and the
I don't
action.
know. Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't. I didn't get anything else of it. And then I watch it now. I'm like, you could make a Daisy Duke today.
No.
That just would not work.
Probably not.
Yeah, and you don't think you could put pants that tight on a man. 'Cause I don't think that would work either. So there would be some.
Yeah.
Everybody would be. There's something that show manages to offend just about every group of human beings out there.
Well, at least it's
It's
offensive to
consistent.
everybody.
It's
Yeah.
consistent. I think that's why it's just kind of
Yeah.
gone now. Like, yeah, let's let this
Could
go.
be.
Television's like, we're not bringing that back. Just let it go. Just let it go. You're not seeing a remake anytime soon. I don't even know how they could. But yeah, that's my next one. Was
Okay.
the old Dukes.
Well, my next one is the old westerns TV shows. And when I was a kid, there was just tons of them.
Yeah, they were the superhero
I mean,
movies and
oh
shows at
yeah,
the
they
time.
were just everywhere. There was every night there was probably a western on TV. Some of the ones that I wrote off the top of my head that I remember was Wild Bill Hickok,
Mm-hmm.
Davy Crockett, Maverick, Bat Masterson, Johnny Ringo. I remember that one. And all of these were real people,
Every one of them.
every one of them. But
They weren't
were-
heroes.
yeah, well, these TV shows, the good guys wore the white hats and the bad guys wore the black hats, and Wild Bill Hickok was the hero, and Maverick and well, Davy Crockett was probably okay, but Bat Masterson, none of those guys were heroes.
No, Ringo. I mean,
Yeah,
they
Johnny
kill him.
Ringo.
Johnny Ringo gets killed in Tombstone.
Yeah,
I mean, he's the bad guy in that.
it's yeah, these were not good men,
No.
but they were the sheriff. Well, yeah, they were, so they could cover up their gambling operations and prostitution rings and stuff. I mean, after going back, I guess what probably spoiled me for these shows was actually I always had an interest in the Old West.
Mhm.
And what's fascinating about it, it was only like a 20-year period in our history.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Very short period of time that had such an impact on our
Especially
culture
out where I used to live.
in our society. Yeah, it's amazing. But where you used to live, like Tombstone,
Yeah.
that whole gunfight lasted less than a minute.
Yeah.
And look at the impression it made on history.
Oh,
I
absolutely.
mean, how many movies and how many
Yeah.
TV again, Johnny Ringo TV show, and all
Yeah.
this stuff.
Yeah, Johnny Ringo was involved in that.
Yeah, and it was it's kind of amazing. So as an adult, I started really studying the Wild West, the real Wild West history. And come to find out, my hero, Wild Bill Hickok, was not exactly a good guy.
No.
Or neither was Bat Masterson, or certainly not Johnny Ringo. And and so to go back and watch those shows, which I have tried.
Debbie?
Yeah, they used to be on some of those same old TV,
Oh, really?
old show on Saturdays. They'd have all the westerns on, and I thought, I'm going to watch Maverick. Wow, that one's on. And
No.
yeah, 10 minutes into that, I'm like, oh, God, this was awful. How did I watch this when I was a kid, Yeah, I remember my grandmother used to take me, she loved westerns too. Maybe that's where I got it from. But she liked to go to the movies and see all these cowboy movies, and they weren't very good either. But she loved them. We'd go to the movies, and her and I'd walk downtown, go to the theater and see the old westerns, and we loved it. But man, they didn't age well, and they're all bullshit.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I think that's the biggest part of it.
It's the problem.
They're absolutely
problem.
all bullshit.
That's why they went to
Yeah.
the comic book movies. Like, this is all bullshit already. It's
Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, if you're basing your history of Tombstone off the movie Tombstone,
Oh, no, you're way
Yeah,
wrong. The
yeah,
ending.
yeah. Especially the ending.
The shootout was fairly
Yeah,
accurate.
the shootout was accurate, but everything before it and everything after
It
was
was absolute BS.
well, not all of it, but it was probably, of the movies that I've seen of that, probably at least the first part of it before the shootout was fairly accurate, relatively accurate, but it's not.
Everything afterwards. Was
Everything
absolute
after that's a crap.
Though I will say, Val Kilmer should have won an Academy Award for his
Yes,
performance
absolutely.
as Doc
Absolutely.
Holliday.
That's the only reason I will watch that movie today is
Yeah.
to see him play.
And when he starts to
Doc
drift
Holliday.
away in it, I'm like, I lose interest in the movie. Yeah.
That is that acting job and the way he played
Doc Holliday.
Doc Holliday. I mean, Doc Holliday had it was a consumptive. I mean, he was dying. And yet all the other movies about it. I got to get that in a real. Can we pause?
Oh, yeah, we can pause that. Hold on. And we are back.
Sorry about that.
That's okay.
But anyway, go ahead and.
All right. My next one is actually, I'm going to combine these two because I have them back to back. And I love the Transformers cartoon, and I love the G.I. Joe cartoon. Those are two, and they're still, they're stupid, hokey, but again, 80s cartoons, they are what they are. They're half-hour commercials. Yeah. But they were fun, and they were good, and, knowing is half the battle. I'll never talk shit about G.I. Joe cartoon. I won't. I think as an adult, it's still like my single favorite franchise. I don't know why. I'm weird. But they made a G.I. Joe the animated movie, and they made a Transformers the animated movie. And somebody tried to tell me that the Transformers animated movie is better than the not that great live action Transformers movies. I was like, I'm sorry. That movie, I loved it when I was a kid, but man, he said, have you watched it lately? He's like, yeah, I own it. I'm like, do you really? Because you wouldn't be saying that if you watched it. I do own it, and it's not good.
Not good.
I mean, they killed. Spoilers for everybody. I mean, it's almost as old as I am, so I don't care. They killed Optimus Prime and everybody else in the beginning of the movie and totally set up the next toy line. That's the movie.
That's the whole point.
The G.I. Joe, the movie, did the same thing. Essentially, they knocked out. They didn't kill him because the backlash was so upsetting from killing. Like there's scenes of kids in the theaters when they killed Optimus. Everyone's like, what the hell?
You can't kill Optimus.
The look on their faces is just like, are you kidding me? And so they didn't do it. They just knocked him out. And they came back at the end. But they did essentially the same thing with G.I. Joe. Set up the next toy line, and it was so goddamn lame. It was just like you have one of the greatest, I think, two of the greatest characters in all of like 1980s toy fiction, Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow, and you relegate them to side characters and make them unimportant.
Mm-hmm.
you know, I mean, whoever wrote this movie is an idiot, and I know why they wrote the movie. They wrote it to sell the next line of toys, and I get it. But man, it's frustratingly bad because you're like, I'm not a Duke fan. Matter of fact, in the comic books, Duke doesn't show up till way later, so no one really cares about Duke. But in the cartoon, Duke was big. He plays a minor role. I'm like, he's the leader of the frickin' G.I. Joes, for Christ's sake. You know, and then they do the whole, and then they replace Optimus Prime with Rodimus Prime. Oh, yeah, that's original.
That's original.
It's so freaking terrible. It's just terrible. The music in it, they use a Weird Al song in it. Why the hell would you use a Weird Al song in a freaking Transformer movie? I love Weird Al, but there's a time and place. And a movie soundtrack is not that time nor that place. It is just a terrible movie. I mean, the both of them are so lame. And they both came out kind of back to back. And, oh my goodness, I just watched that. You know, and it's like there's never been a good G.I. Joe movie. They tried to do those live action ones, but again, they missed the mark. You know, Hollywood, I'm here. I wrote one for college because I had to for film school. I wrote a G.I. Joe movie. My teacher said, that's pretty good shit. I said, I know, because I know my G.I. Joe. I'm here. I'll help you. Just come see me. I'm cheap.
We'll work cheap.
I will work for cheap. Just let me do it so I can say, I did a good G.I. Joe movie. And all the G.I. Joe fans will be happy because those movies are bad, but the animated ones are just an insult to the whole. Even as a kid, I was like, this is just a toy grab. Like, as soon as those movies came out, the new toys were out. I'm like, I don't like that. I mean, it was a little too brazen. You know what I mean? There's just a point where, and then that's when I stopped watching Transformers because they got rid of all the ones I liked. And the G.I. Joe's the same way. I like really slowed up, and then they tried to recover by making the next line with all the classic G.I. Joes just new uniforms because they're like, oh shit, we screwed up. No one's watching. No one's buying these new guys. No one likes them. So, and then we'll never forget that Serpentor, who was actually a pretty big character in the G.I. Joe thing, and the famous, you know, Cobra Commander used to, and all Joe, and all that bullshit. They had to change it up for the movie to Cobra, la 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 la. It's like, what the fuck? Sorry, but just couldn't. Holy shit! I mean, it was bad. It was just so bad, and it's a terrible movie. Oh my god, who played? Big actors were in it too. I have to look up who played Romulus and all that. I can't remember. I should have looked that up. That's my fault. But they're big name actors. Voice these characters in the show. And they're probably reading this going, well, they paid me.
Yeah, exactly.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
So you don't stick to the cartoons or the comic books. Move on. Don't even bother with those shitty animated movies. Unfortunately, I do own them both, so I don't know what that says about me, but we'll just move on from that. What you got?
Okay, well, this is actually my last
Is it?
one.
Okay.
Yeah, and probably a good thing, yes. But all of the shows, no, I only listed one, but all of the related ones to Leave It to Beaver.
Oh, that's a terrible show.
Oh my God! You know, who had a family like that?
No one.
No one. Absolutely no one. You know, Dad come home from work and take out his pipe and break out the newspaper, and Mom's in the kitchen cooking dinner, and Beaver and Wally are doing Beaver and Wally stuff, and Beaver did something minor indiscretion, and you had to get a lecture at the end of the show, like, now Beaver, don't you do that, you know? And oh, it was just so awful. But I think the only reason I ever watched it probably is because that was the only thing on TV. I mean, I don't know. I guess I liked it. You know, I kind of liked it when I was a kid. Boy, I can't watch it now. Oh, geez.
No, it'd be
that'd be
impossible.
torture.
Yeah.
I mean, but looking back on it, it's like there were no people like that. At least none that I knew. You know, where I grew up. You know, not my side of town. You know, I mean, geez, the whole thing was ridiculous. You know.
Yeah, I always find it interesting that, you know, you hear it from certain political groups like, we gotta go back to that Leave It to Beaver life. Who the hell had that
Who
life?
had that life?
Yeah, nobody I've ever heard of had that life.
Jeez, it was.
I don't want to go back to the 1950s.
No.
You know, they had diseases and stuff, and we can cure most of them nowadays.
Yeah, well,
if you believe in that. They can. It's good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I never understood the love of that. Again, because maybe because I'm not from that era.
No,
So,
you're not from that era,
but
you
yeah,
know, but I grew up in that kind of that era, and man, I didn't. My house didn't run like that.
yeah.
You know, I mean,
I don't
you
think
know,
anybody's did.
no, nobody I knew.
Yeah, that's so
You
funny.
know, it is, but somehow that became the quintessential American family,
It's so
and
weird.
yeah, and it's not. You know, I don't know.
Yeah, it's no.
Very weird.
Well, I'm gonna end it with one more that I have to do, and I saved it for last for a reason.
Go ahead.
Um, and thanks to Stranger Things, they brought it back into the my mind again, and that is the never-ending story. You want to talk about a pile of crap? I liked it as a kid, and I watched it as a kid, and I was like, "Huh, this is interesting. I like this." When I was like a little kid, oh, the horse died in the swamp of sadness because he was sad. You know, it's just you watch it now, you're like, "What in the hell was I thinking in this? This is a terrible movie. It is a bad movie." I don't know. Again, I don't know who greenlit it. I think it was just that era of well, we got to make the He-Man, we got to make the Wicket movie. All these to me kind of get lumped in the same
I don't
kind of thing.
remember that.
The never-ending story.
No, not really.
No,
I don't think I ever.
you are lucky. You are one of the lucky ones. Mom doesn't either. I think she put it out of her mind. But if I
Yeah.
were to turn it on, you'd go, "Oh, that's why I put it out of my mind."
Yeah,
You're
I
lucky.
don't remember.
You know,
I guess if you
they
saw
had the
it, I
luck
guess I
dragon
probably
with the
did.
big, huge white dragon, furry dragon. Yeah, it's,
You're,
it's not good. It's okay.
you know.
You're lucky. I still remember it. And I had that nostalgia thing, and then Stranger Things did their thing with it, and it all of a sudden it started to appear again because people were looking it up because they
Yeah,
sang the song
yeah.
"Never Ending Story." Oh, it's terrible.
Yeah.
Just like my singing voice, it's terrible. So, and so I looked it up. I thought I'll watch this again. I remember it being good, but I was 5 years old. Oh my God, it is not good. So don't do it. Keep it fresh in your mind, maybe if it still is. If not, forget it and allow it to be forgotten to history. So that's where I'm at. That was my list.
That was your list? That's
Yeah.
the whole list?
Yeah, I mean, I got like the Nintendo cartoon that I kind of liked, but I don't know if I really liked it all that much. I put it on there. It wasn't good, and I think at the time I knew it wasn't good. I don't really like when I saw it, it's like, oh yeah, I didn't really have a nostalgia for this,
Hmm.
And then the X-Men cartoon, I loved it, but I think I loved it mainly because we weren't getting anything superhero like at that time.
Yeah. I thought it was okay.
Yeah,
It dealt with a lot of issues, a
It
lot of
did.
social issues that
and
were
it's kind of lame and hokey and stupid, but it's a kid's cartoon, and you always got to remember it's like people are all upset at the new Disney TV show, Acolytes. This is like a teen fiction. Well, it's based off a story that was written for teen fiction, so you got to put it in perspective. It's not for 40-year-old men. It's for 16-year-old boys and girls. So I'll let it pass. I don't care. I'm like, yeah, whatever. It's a kid's thing, and I just immediately moved on from it. So maybe that's why I'm not good with a lot of this nostalgia stuff. I look at it too literal. So I don't know. I go back and forth on it because tried to watch that X-Men '97. It's not very good,
yeah. Yeah.
but
Some of the movies were okay.
the original movie was good.
Yeah.
And I think the third one I enjoyed.
I liked the first three. I
Yeah,
thought they were pretty good.
and I love the Logan movie, but that's
Yeah, that was
rated
good,
R.
too.
That's a really good movie, and the Wolverine was good too. Wolverine went to Japan.
yeah.
That was really good too.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, I like those. And like I said, we weren't getting those shows as a kid. When I was a kid, you got, and then in that era, you had the Batman animated series, which was fantastic, and still is fantastic. And then you got, the X-Men and Spider-Man, which were pretty good. So I'm off and on with the X-Men one. It's not something I'd watch today, but at the same time, it's not for a 40-year-old Nick. It's for a 13-year-old Nick. So
Yeah,
I gotta
well, that's the
remember that.
problem with when I started making this list, I thought, a lot of these shows, yeah, they don't play well today, but
yeah,
I'm not 12 years old anymore either.
Exactly, yeah.
Long past that.
Yeah.
So it
That's-
was a little hard for me to do this one.
The G.I. Joe one and the Transformers one, those were always bad.
Yeah.
And I always knew they were bad.
Yeah.
But that's why you notice, like, I didn't put my Transformers cartoons on there. So I was 5, 6 years old. They were cool for a 5 and 6-year-old kid, even up to maybe 12. But after that, you're like, okay, yeah, it's kind of lame. All right, it's old. I get it. But when I was a kid, I liked it. So it was hard to do this list because of that. You got to remember, like, oh, wait, no, I was also 12. So I'm 43 now. So
it's a little different. Those old Westerns, like Wild Bill Hickok, who was my Western hero, I was, 9, 10 years old or whatever. And I didn't know anything about it other than what I saw on TV, which was complete BS. I was a little disappointed to find out, wow, that was all bullshit. Yeah. When you grow up and it's like.
But I also thought about this.
The reality.
The good thing with a list like this, it also tells you that we grew up.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
See, people who, if you're still like, oh my God, I got to watch all the G.I. Joe shit from when I was a kid, it's time to grow up a little. There's new things. There's new things to be interested in, and there's new things to be excited about that are more in line with who you are as a person and today. So, yeah, there's nostalgia. You can fall for that trap really easy. It's easy to get nostalgia. Nostalgia makes a shitload of money. Maybe that's why we keep getting all these goddamn nostalgic movies and stuff. But and TV shows and remakes of things.
Remakes.
Oh my God, everything's being remade.
Yeah, I guess it's always been that way though.
It probably has.
Yeah.
But let's do new things.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I thought of at the end of this. When I put this list together and I thought about it, it's time for new things. Let's make new things. Let's make new nostalgia. Let's make new stuff. That'll be great one day. And kids will do a podcast with a kid will do his podcast with his dad, talk about the crap he made, Let's do that,
Yeah,
so
exactly.
But yeah, that's my list. That's the list that's worth talking about, I guess.
Yeah,
and
that's mine.
You got a quote for us?
I do have a quote for you.
He has a book.
Yeah, I have a book out.
Oh,
I'm reading a book called Taking London.
Oh boy.
Why I'm reading it, I don't know, because I already was very familiar with all this history, the Battle of Britain, and when the Nazis bombed the shit out of London and England and stuff. But the guy that wrote it is Martin Dugard, I'm not sure how you pronounce his last name, but he co-wrote most of the Bill O'Reilly killing series.
Oh, the ones that Bill O'Reilly got credit for? Yeah.
Yeah, and he also wrote, he's writing these taking books, which are World War II, like Taking Paris, Taking Berlin, and now this one is Taking London. So I saw it and I picked it up. I started to read it. But there's a quote in here, and it almost made me shiver. Okay?
Yeah.
Brought shivers down my spine. If we want to score a victory, we must actively make use of lies. They have to be big. The bigger the lies, the quicker the people will believe them. You know who said that? Adolf Hitler.
Yeah, I believe it.
And look at what's going on in our world today.
Yeah.
The big lie.
The big lie.
The big lie.
Yeah.
That election was stolen.
Yep.
Prove it.
Yep. I can't.
So now we have the big lie. The bigger the better.
Bigger the better.
Wake up, America.
It is time. And on that horrific old disappointment and sad note.
Yeah, as they would say on
Grand Tour.
Not disappointment.
To quote Jeremy Clarkson, on that disappointment. I'm kidding. Thanks for listening. We say, we always say every week, like, subscribe us, all that fun stuff.
Yeah, sure.
We do this for fun.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of fun for us. Gives us opportunity to sit across from the table from each other and chat about something stupid.
Yeah, it gives us a lot, go look back at things and look ahead at things and just talk about stuff that's happened.
Yeah.
In our lives.
Yeah.
So it's kind of fun.
Yeah, it is. Well, everyone, have a wonderful week, and we will probably talk to you next week.
Take care, everyone.
Thanks, and bye-bye.